I shall say thanks, but before saying thanks, I have a kind of prepared message for the end of the seminar. I'll read the two first lines of a poem for you. War is contempt for life. Peace is creation. These are the first two lines in a poem written in Norway to the youth in 1936 by the writer Nordahl Grieg. Fascism, Nazism and militarism were on the rise in Europe. Music for the poem was composed only in 1956, and To the Youth was then had a fantastic breakthrough and was sung by huge masses of people in the city of Oslo and other places in Norway after the terrible terrorist attack at Utøya, an island where young people were assembled for political debates, and they were killed by this lone terrorist who's now sitting in a prison. I fancy the definition of peace as creation and of war as contempt for life. And I cherish Nordahl Grieg's call for defeating death, which is in his third line. As of 1936, he was a pacifist when he wrote this poem. But when war came to Norway in 1940 with German invasion or Nazi invasion, he changed his mind and trained as a British RAF pilot, and was shot down and killed over Berlin in December 1943. After Berlin was reunited in 1989, we spent some time trying to find his grave, because he was in East Berlin. Pacifism, as we can see from here, is morally difficult when your country is invaded and occupied. It's difficult to be a Ukrainian pacifist today. Peace has many meanings. A simple one is absence of war. A broader one is practice of non-violence. To avoid war and to practice non-violence are of immense value because they save lives and provide for the creation of a better, more peaceful society. A ceasefire or armistice may save multiple lives. And they get a chance to overcome the hatreds nurtured by war and establish agendas for a deeper, more genuine and lasting peace. An example of a very fragile peace now is the one that Janani Vivekananda just described in Syria, with her, in her words, a very, very fragile peace. But it can also there potentially be the beginning of a process. And I understood that engaging with climate change, coming out of war and engaging with climate change is something that could contribute to peace building. The word most used by realists to describe how to avoid war is deterrence. And then the idea is that acquiring the military capacity to punish our adversaries, we, that means our nation, can deter them from attacking us. Successful deterrence is peace by unpeaceful means, as I said in my opening address. Deterrence can, however, easily lead to its opposite, increasing the adversary's readiness to fight. This is something the Americans experienced in Vietnam, not with deterrence, but with killing so many, and then that just increased the number of people who were willing to fight against the United States. But since the adversary thinks the same way as us when we practice deterrence with unpeaceful means, there is a spiral of distrust and military buildup and arms race, and then sometimes confrontation when leaders lose control or get too fearful. And this could be fatal to life on our planet if the parties involved are in possession of nuclear arms. Next month I will visit Hiroshima and Nagasaki to think about the risk we run in having as many as 9 governments with nuclear weapons today, 9 men with their button in the United States, Russia, China, France, the UK, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea. Who's next? This is why I am so happy that we have Kevin Clements with us as the former director and now honorary director and distinguished fellow, who can, in cooperation with the Asia-Pacific Leadership Network, focus on another effort in preventive diplomacy. Not reassurance, but this is the promise of no first use of nuclear arms. China, who has long advocated no first use, has much fewer strategic weapons than Russia and the US, but is engaged in a consistent and rapid build-up. If all sides could agree on no first use, then we could feel more safe that there will not be any use, as I said in my opening address. So I think that you have now today been given an impression of the kind of research competence that we have at the Toda Peace Institute, the areas that we cover, which I think are quite reflective of the needs in today and also the big worries that we have today, even though we don't have any program called capitalism. And I will now move to thank you. No, I will first say that I would be happy to hear comments from all of you afterwards when we leave out, if you like the format that we had today, because it was a bit different from earlier. Earlier we have had one person speak after the other. This time we discussed in dialogue form with a panel in a way. And I want to hear if you think that was successful or not, because we are going to think about how to do it next year. Thank you. Then let me thank the whole the Toda Peace Institute staff, thank the whole audience, thank the dialogue participants, and finally, perhaps even most, the interpreters, whom we have not seen, but heard. So, thanks to you all.